It is said that in ancient times, Cleopatra had 3 golden eggs. The eggs were given by Antony as a symbol of their love. Thousands of years later, the 3 eggs became antiques worth tens of millions of dollars. The first egg is now in a museum. The other one has been bought and stored at the headquarters. But no one has ever found the third egg. Back to the present, FBI Special Agent John Hartley takes his partner Das to a museum in Italy. They believe that the first egg has been stolen, but the manager at the museum said that it was impossible. They did not want to close the museum and lock the place. Until finally, Agent Hartley poured soda on the egg, and it turned out to be true, and it had been exchanged with a fake egg. One person looks very suspicious. He immediately runs away from the place before the pervert is closed. Hartley follows him. This thief is very agile and outwits all the guards, but he can't outwit Hartley, who is experienced. When he is cornered, the thief jumps out of the window. Hartley tries to chase him, but is not as agile and reckless as the thief who dares to jump down. As a result, the thief manages to escape from Hartley's grip. "72 hours later, the scene moves to Bali, where the thief's identity is revealed, and finally, he is surrounded in his villa. His name is Booth, whose name is indeed famous for stealing antiques, and has also managed to escape from prison several times. He can be called a top-level thief, along with another thief named the Bishop, who is his rival, and they often compete for positions 1 and 2 as the best antique thief. Booth is eventually taken hostage by Hartley, and the real Cleopatra egg is successfully secured. But that doesn't last long. Hartley puts the egg in the back of a car, but someone disguised as his henchman takes the opportunity to swap the egg. 24 hours later, the report came in, and Agent Hartley became the prime suspect in the theft of Cleopatra's eggs. On the same day, the eggs disappeared. $8 million entered Hartley's account, which further cornered Hartley as the prime suspect. Hartley and Booth were sent to the same prison and also one cell. Booth was sure that the person who framed Hartley was the Bishop. He said that the 3 eggs would be sold to the Egyptians for $300 million as a gift for his daughter's wedding later. At lunchtime, Booth played Hartley and shouted that Hartley was a policeman. A prisoner named Drago immediately approached him and beat Hartley before finally being stopped by the guard. Hartley was angry with Booth in the cell, but the fight was stopped again by the guard because he said they were called by the captain. It turned out that the captain was the Bishop, who had negotiated with the prison captain to replace him for a while. Bishop offered Booth to work together to steal the 3 eggs, and he offered 10% of the proceeds. He was sure that Booth was the only person who had a clue to the 3rd egg whose trace had never been found. Booth refused. He said he didn't know anything about the 3rd egg. But Bishop said he would soon steal the 2nd egg, and sooner or later, he would definitely get a clue about the 3rd egg. That night, Nolan told about his bad relationship with his father. His father had a watch that he loved very much, and he always kept it well. One day, the watch was lost, and his father accused Nolan that he was the one who lost it. Nolan insisted that he didn't know, but his father became very angry and never said anything to Nolan again for 1 year. But after that, Nolan's father found the watch in a pile of files in his own closet. So it was his negligence and had nothing to do with Nolan. He didn't apologize and instead acted as if it never happened, leaving a deep wound in Nolan's heart. Because Nolan wanted to get out of prison, while Hartley wanted to clear his name, they finally decided to work together. And Booth had prepared a brilliant escape plan. He mixed a bar of soap into a chemical liquid in a bottle and put it in the washing machine room. Finally, the machine exploded and there was a riot. Booth had planned it from the start. The riot at the beginning that trapped Hartley was to steal the guard's access card. It is undeniable. Booth is a genius. They immediately escaped through the unstable wall yard. The prison guards who saw the prisoners escape immediately fired their guns, while Booth had gotten a helicopter to escape. John was still hampered by several guards. The bridge was shot with a bazooka by the captain, but Hartley still managed to hang on and hold on to the remaining pieces of the bridge board. He climbed to the helicopter in time, and they managed to escape from prison. They finally went to Italy to steal the second egg. The egg is in the hands of Sottovoce, a brutal arms dealer in Italy. He always holds a masquerade party once a year to interact with foreign buyers, and it just so happens that tomorrow is the day. Inside Sottovoce's residence, everyone was dressed very neatly and charmingly. To prevent Bishop from doing his action, Hartley traps Bishop in dancing together. Meanwhile, Booth distracts the guard so he can enter the safe room. The plan looks smoother when Vosh invites Bishop to dance because he sees her very sexy wearing a red dress. This frees up Hartley's steps to enter the safe room together. Although the safe room is under very tight surveillance, they manage to enter when the guard changes. Nolan also managed to hack the CCTV so that it looked like nothing was suspicious until finally they arrived at the safe room. This time Bishop was once again one step ahead of Nolan and John. It turned out that he had been working with Sottovoce from the start and leaked the secret that someone would come to steal the egg. John and Booth were finally trapped there and held hostage by Vosh. While in the torture room, this time Bishop forced Nolan to immediately tell him where the third egg was before they tortured them fiercely. Nolan continued to refuse to tell until finally it was his turn to get an electric shock. Nolan, who was frightened, finally revealed what he knew about the whereabouts of the third egg. He said that the egg never left Egypt and was in one of the pyramids where Cleopatra was buried, until finally Bishop got information about the third egg. He also thanked Voce, who had fallen into his charm, and thought that they had hope. Voce fainted for a moment after drinking the wine given by Bishop, but when he woke up he became furious and shot his gun at Nolan and John before he fainted again. Hartley said he was lucky because the bullets were aimed at his handcuffs, and he was finally released, although Nolan had a hard time believing it. Until finally they escaped up a ladder, but it turned out that they ended up going out into the middle of the bull ring. It was perfect because they were wearing white clothes, so the bull immediately charged towards them. Nolan even told them not to move because he thought if they didn't move, the bull would stop. John just followed Nolan's words, and in the end, he was also gored by the bull. But in the end, they managed to escape. After escaping, they finally planned to chase the third egg. He said that he had lied to Bishop and that the third egg was not actually in Egypt. In April 1945, Rudolf Seich, a high-ranking guard who collected all the Nazi treasures, traveled from Germany to Argentina carrying a suitcase and also hundreds of tons of high-quality machine spare parts. But after arriving in South America, no one ever discussed where all the treasures were hidden. Then back to Nolan's relationship with his father. Nolan found that the watch his father loved so much was Rudolf Seich's watch. After his father died, he took the watch, and because he was upset, he threw it until it shattered into pieces. It turned out that after he fell, Nolan found a coordinate in South America, and he was sure that was where all the treasures were hidden, including Cleopatra's third egg. They finally made a trip to the coordinates. After traveling for 3 days, finally they were right above the underground bunker. They went in there and found all the Nazi treasures, including a 1931 Mercedes-Benz, of which there are only 3 in the world. Nolan also finally found the third egg, but again an uninvited guest came, namely the bishop. He was not so easily fooled and turned out to follow Nolan to direct him to the third egg. But it turned out that it was not only Bishop who came, but also Das with all his troops. Das was determined to catch them all. Finally, they shoot each other.
Go, go, go! I'm trying! Let's go!
The door is closed, but Nolan knows that it must be a tunnel, and the way the Nazis bring all these things in. Finally, they blow up the door, and it is true, it is a tunnel. This time they work together because defeating Daz is the first thing that must be done first. Bishop, who is great at driving, corners several cars belonging to Daz's team. The egg was also almost taken, but fortunately, Hartley and Booth managed to get it back. Until finally they ran out of the road, and in front was a waterfall. With recklessness, they finally fell free. Nolan managed to survive the jump along with the Cleopatra egg he was holding, but he didn't see Hartley. After a while, Hartley appeared. This time, Bishop was the one who was cornered, because Nolan was the one who managed to get the third egg this time. Hartley walked towards Bishop to handcuff him, but they kissed instead. Hartley and Bishop turned out to be one group from the start. Nolan reconfirmed that he did have a little information about Hartley. including when they were held hostage. It turned out that Bishop was the one who gave the key to Hartley. No wonder Nolan they were very strange when they were able to escape from Vashi. It turned out that they were friends from the start. Nolan is now finally cornered, and he has no choice but to hand over the eggs to Bishop. A few days later, Bishop sells the 3 eggs to an Egyptian businessman who wants to give them as a birthday present for his daughter. The 3 eggs are genuine, and Bishop manages to rake in $300 million, as promised at the beginning, before he finally betrays the Egyptian merchant by calling Daz there. And because this is Nazi property, it is illegal and should belong to the government. A few months later, Hartley and Bishop are relaxing on the boat they bought. Nolan comes and surprises them. He tells Bishop to check their bank accounts, and it turns out that their balances are empty. This time it is Nolan who works with Das to break into Bishop's account on the condition of his freedom. Now they are even. Nolan says he doesn't want to work with Das and invites them to form a team. He said he had found a bigger target. Bishop thought about it for a moment. Hartley initially did not want to, but finally he just followed Bishop's wishes because he felt that it was not a bad idea either. Since then, the 3 of them have become a team to steal and carry out even crazier actions. The story ends here. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next video.